they want to make him king. He says, no thanks, I don't want to get into politics. But his son,
No.
my dad was king. You all bow down. He kills all his siblings, 70 of them, and little Yotam escapes. Okay, Yotam, orphan, he escapes. He goes to Shechem. He talks to the people of Shechem. And what does he say to them? I'm so glad you voted my brother. Okay, he's the best guy ever. Is that what they say? Who studied Shoftim? Tell me.
No.
What happens with Yotam? What does he warn the people of Shechem?
Against the king, against Abimelech, who was the bad guy.
Okay. Now, if I was going to warn somebody's a bad guy, I would show video clips how they, how they rigged the voting system, or I would find all kinds of emails that I shouldn't find, and I'd publicize them. But if I'm living back then and I'm standing on top of the mountain, have any of you been on Har Gerizim?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine me being on the side of Har Gerizim, looking at Shechem all the way down. You might notice that the hills there are pretty barren. But a tree like this has no problem growing there. Okay? This is a special type of tree that grows great in the area of Shechem. And if I'm going to be speaking to the people of Shechem, I'm not going to bring out the emails, and I'm not going to show you videos or tapes. I'm going to use a parable about plants, because that's what the people understand. So if somebody reads aloud what I wrote in English, do we have a reader?
I'll read.
Okay, please do.
In English.
Yes, please.
When Yotam was told about this, he climbed up on the top of Mount Gerizim and shouted to them, listen to me, citizens of Shechem, so that God may listen to you. One day, the trees went out to anoint a king for themselves. They said to the olive tree, be our king. But the olive tree answered, should I give up my oil by which both gods and humans are honored to hold sway over the trees?
Okay, so what do olives prefer to do?
They prefer to give up to produce oil.
Oil for anointing. They're so connected to Kedusha. The last thing they want to get involved with is politics. Go on.
Next, the tree said to the fig tree, come and be our king. But the fig tree replied, should I give up my fruit, so good and sweet, to hold sway over the trees?
Okay, so this fruit tree, the te'ena, they even would take it's one of the 7 species, they take them and they actually, I'm doing this because they make like necklaces out of them. They take all the figs and they would put them on a rope, and they would be able to be eaten all through the months. And they're so nutritious that you can just eat figs and be happy. Go on.
Okay. Then the tree said to the vine, come and be our king. But the vine answered, shall I give up my wine, which cheers both gods and humans, to hold sway over the trees?
Okay, so even the grapes don't want to get involved in politics.
Finally, all the trees said to the thorn bush,
To
come
to
and
who?
be our king.
To
The
who? Thorn bush.
Thorn bush.
But how do we say it in Hebrew?
Atad.
Atad. Can we all say it?
Atad.
Very good. Now, what kind of botanical characteristics does an atad have? Go.
The thorn bush said to the trees, if you really want to anoint me king over you, come and take refuge in my shade.
Okay, 1 second. Refuge in my shade. This tree was specifically grown. It's been pruned constantly. If you go find these trees in the wilderness, first of all, what is the name? The regular name is thorn bush. So this is filled with thorns. Okay, that's one characteristic, a thorny thing. Another characteristic is that usually the branches reach all the way down to the bottom. So it's kind of ironic and sarcastic to say, find refuge in my shade, because by the time you get in there, you're bloody.
Oh.
And look how tiny the leaves are. This is not, I would not consider this my number 1 shade tree. Go on.
I'll take refuge in my shade, but if not, then let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon.
Okay, why fire? Because this is one of the most ignitable trees that we have. It's dry, but inside it has a special type of turpentine-like sap that you light a match and the whole tree becomes a flame. Okay? So people understood which tree he was talking about. This description of the thorn bush, everyone understood every single nuance. And this is what he used as a comparison to his dear brother, Avimelech. He compared him to this lovely tree. Okay?
What is the connection to discipline?
Okay. Sisyphus, Spina Christi. Sisyphus, I don't know what it means, except it's a good word to know for Scrabble games. But Spina Christi means the thorns of him, because the theory goes that these branches were used to produce the crown of thorns, which they stuck on Jesus before they crucified him.
Whoa.
Okay, and they actually have these type of trees growing in the valley below where the Mamila pool is.
Yes.
There you go. Oh, correct. So that thank you so much. Beautiful. Okay, when you say something in Hebrew is zifti, it means that it is a hopeless battle. That it keeps, they try to push it up the mountain, right? And they can't do it. It keeps, right. So you all remember your Greek mythology that you're trying to climb the mountain and he pushes it up, and the minute it gets to the top, it rolls back down again. Okay, so it's something without purpose or hopelessness. So this again fits in perfectly with our description of why Yotam would describe his brother as such, and he's the only one willing to go into politics. Now, of course, the people of Shechem knew their botany so well that they realized how right Yotam was, and they say, Avimelech, we will not follow you, and everyone lives happily ever after. Is that what happens? No. What happens?
There was a big war and something. I can't exactly remember. Avimelech, I think somebody pushed him out of the window or something like that.
He dies by the hand of a woman.
That's
You can't
right.
get much more punishment than that. But before that, the Anshe Shechem do follow him.
Oh.
The people of Shechem, they follow him. And even though Yotam, with his one little voice standing on the edge, you remember Har Gerizim? If you imagine him just standing there facing Har Eval, facing the place where Yoshua and the Mizbeach was when Bnei Israel came into the desert, from the desert. He's actually facing that, Har Brachot and Har Klalot. He's giving them a warning. You can live a life of bracha or klala. And what did the stiff-necked people choose? And then the story ends very badly for everybody. Okay? So how's that for a good parable? Correct? So let us continue on our mission because, we're late. So if any